Imagine being trapped in a golden cage of your own making. You have wealth, status, and power. Everything society tells you equals freedom. Yet, you feel more imprisoned than ever. This paradox haunted even the wealthiest Romans in Nero's court, where men with millions would grovel before the emperor's shoemaker. But there was one man who discovered true freedom in the most unlikely place, in chains. His name was Epictetus, a former slave who would become one of history's most influential philosophers. Despite facing torture, poverty, and exile, he unlocked the secret to genuine liberation that still resonates today. In this video, I'll reveal the counterintuitive wisdom that helped Epictetus transform from an enslaved man into one of the freest souls who ever lived. You'll discover why having more money and power often creates invisible chains, and most importantly, how to break free from them using timeless Stoic principles that are more relevant than ever in our modern pursuit of financial freedom. If you've ever felt trapped by your success, anxious despite your abundance, or simply seeking true freedom beyond material wealth, this video will challenge everything you think you know about liberation. Stay until the end to learn the most powerful Stoic practice for achieving genuine freedom, one that even the wealthiest Romans never mastered. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to join our growing community of modern Stoics. Together, we'll explore the ancient wisdom that can set us free from the invisible prisons we build around ourselves. Let's begin this journey toward true freedom. The illusion of financial freedom. Picture the opulent halls of ancient Rome, where the wealthiest and most powerful individuals of their time dwelled in perpetual anxiety. These supposedly free individuals, with their vast fortunes and prestigious positions, found themselves trapped in gilded cages of their own making. In Nero's court, a particularly telling scene unfolded. A wealthy man, possessing more riches than most could dream of, threw himself at the emperor's feet, whimpering about, being down to his last million. Even more absurd was the sight of another prominent figure desperately trying to curry favor with Nero's cobbler, hoping this might grant him better access to power. The more these individuals accumulated, the more they feared losing it all. Their vast wealth, instead of providing freedom, created an intricate web of dependencies. Every decision, every word spoken, every action taken had to be calculated against the risk of losing their position, their wealth, or even their lives. They lived in constant fear of falling from grace, making them slaves to their own success. Consider how these wealthy Romans had to maintain appearances, attend endless social functions, and perpetually demonstrate their loyalty to stay in favor. Their time wasn't their own. Their thoughts weren't free. Their actions were constrained by the invisible chains of social expectations and political maneuvering. They were, in essence, prisoners of their own success, bound by golden shackles they themselves had forged. Epictetus, observing this from his unique perspective, understood that true freedom had nothing to do with material wealth or social status. He recognized that living anxiously amidst abundance was far worse than facing life's challenges with inner peace and confidence. The wealthy Romans, despite their apparent freedom, were more enslaved by their riches than he ever was by his physical. Chains control what you can. In the realm of true freedom, Epictetus teaches us a fundamental truth. Our first and most crucial task is to separate life into two distinct categories: what we can control and what we cannot. This wisdom becomes particularly powerful when applied to our financial journey and life decisions. Consider your financial life. You cannot control market fluctuations, economic policies, or global events that impact your wealth. However, you maintain absolute sovereignty over your responses, judgments, and financial decisions. When you lose money in an investment, you cannot control the loss, but you can control your reaction to it. When faced with financial setbacks, you cannot control their occurrence, but you can control your strategy to overcome them. Epictetus, who experienced both extreme poverty and later influence among Rome's elite, understood that true power lies not in controlling external circumstances, but in mastering our internal responses. Think about your daily financial decisions. While you cannot control inflation or market trends, you maintain complete control over your spending habits, saving decisions, and investment choices. By accepting what we cannot influence while fully embracing what we can control, we discover true financial freedom. This isn't about resignation, it's about strategic empowerment. When you stop wasting energy fighting against uncontrollable market forces and instead focus on optimizing your financial decisions, you unlock a new level of financial clarity and peace of mind. Remember that your judgments, motivations, and desires remain forever within your power, regardless of external circumstances. In your financial journey, focus your energy on what you can influence: your financial education, your spending habits, your investment research, and your long-term planning. This is where true financial freedom begins, not in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering what lies within your power. Breaking free from financial anxiety. Living anxiously amidst abundance is a peculiar form of modern slavery. Like the wealthy Romans in Nero's court who lived in constant fear despite their riches, many today find themselves imprisoned by their own success. The truth about financial anxiety isn't about how much money you have. It's about your relationship with what you have and what you think you need. Consider how many of us have become enslaved to our mortgages, our status symbols, and our perceived need for security. We chase higher positions, bigger houses, and more impressive titles, only to find ourselves more anxious than before. This is the trap that Epictetus warned about. The more we accumulate, the more we fear losing it all. The path to liberation begins with a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of seeing wealth as something to desperately protect, we must view it as a preferred indifferent, something that's nice to have, but not essential to our well-being. When we stop attaching our self-worth to our net worth, we begin to experience true freedom. Epictetus, who experienced both extreme poverty and later influence among Rome's elite, understood that true wealth lies not in what we possess, but in our capacity to live fully, regardless of circumstances. The wealthy Romans, he observed, were often more enslaved by their riches than he ever was by his chains. They couldn't make decisions without considering their wealth, couldn't speak freely for fear of losing status, couldn't live authentically because of their golden shackles. To break free from financial anxiety, we must first accept that external circumstances, market conditions, economic policies, others' opinions are beyond our control. What remains in our power is our judgment about wealth, our response to loss, and our ability to find contentment regardless of our financial situation. This is the essence of financial freedom, not having everything, but being at peace with whatever we have. The path to true freedom, the journey to true freedom, isn't found in your bank account, your social status, or your material possessions. As we've discovered through ancient wisdom, genuine liberation emerges from within, from our capacity to choose our responses, embrace our circumstances, and find peace regardless of external conditions. Every day presents us with countless opportunities to exercise our true freedom, the freedom to choose our perspective, our actions, and our responses to life's challenges. Whether facing financial setbacks, personal struggles, or professional obstacles, we maintain the power to decide how these circumstances will shape us. Consider how many of us have become voluntary prisoners of our own success, chained by mortgages, status symbols, and societal expectations. True freedom requires the courage to break these self-imposed chains, to realize that our worth isn't measured by our wealth, but by our character and choices. The path to genuine freedom lies in understanding that while we cannot control external events, we maintain absolute sovereignty over our judgments, responses, and internal state. Like Epictetus, who found freedom even in chains, we must learn to distinguish between what truly constrains us and what merely tests our character. Today, right now, you have a choice. Will you continue to measure your freedom by external metrics, or will you embrace the profound liberation that comes from within? Start by examining what truly controls you, your fears, your attachments, your need for validation. Then one by one, break free from these invisible chains. Remember, true wealth isn't measured by what you own, but by what owns you. Choose wisely, for in that choice lies your ultimate freedom. In the end, true freedom isn't about having millions in your bank account or holding positions of power. As we've learned from Epictetus, a former slave who found more liberation in chains than many wealthy Romans found in their golden palaces, genuine freedom comes from within. Think about it. Are you truly free when your mortgage dictates your choices? When your social media following determines what you can say? When your fear of losing status prevents you from being authentic? These invisible chains might be more constraining than any physical bonds. The path to true freedom lies in understanding what we can and cannot control. While we can't control market crashes, other people's opinions, or life's inevitable challenges, we maintain absolute sovereignty over our responses, judgments, and internal state. This is where real power resides. Remember, you're not just watching another video about financial freedom. You're discovering ancient wisdom that has liberated minds for over 2 millennia. This knowledge has transformed slaves into philosophers and emperors into wise rulers. Now it's your turn to break free from the invisible prisons of modern life. If you've found value in these timeless teachings and want to continue your journey toward true freedom, hit that subscribe button and join our community of modern Stoics. Together, we'll explore how to break free from the golden chains that bind us and discover what genuine liberation feels like. The choice is yours. Will you remain trapped in the illusion of freedom, or will you embrace the path to true liberation?